the team.
I've met my senior. The person that he is somebody who was calm and firm. And I remember during one NCAJ meeting when he was under so much pressure, everyone demanding different answers from me, he said he's going to ensure that the process is participatory, he will listen to everyone. You may disagree with him, but he will give you the opportunity to be heard. He will sit down with you. He will share a cup of tea or water with you. But at the end of the day, he will make his decision, irrespective of whether it's favorable to you or not. Those are character traits that are difficult to find. And irrespective of what different people have of their different views, the reality is when we hold positions of power and you're pushed to the corner, the question is, are you going to hold steadfast when you're tested? Will be with the pressure, the challenges, the interferences, wherever they may be. And that's what we can celebrate our senior for, holding fast and holding firm to the position that he felt that was the truth. And so today we stand to celebrate one of our members, because be it the challenges that were there, we cannot deny the impact that he had in the electoral processes, in developing the law, and ensuring a more participatory view, and also bringing forth jurisprudence in that office. That office is an office that can determine the lives of people, can determine whether people go to war or maintain peace. And so it's no mean feat to be able to sit in that office. We do not know the challenges that he had in his head or what he went through as an individual. But we know that he stood firm to whatever decision he made, and the country, we have since moved on or continued to grow. And so the challenge is now to us, what kind of impact shall we continue to make as a legal profession? And so we say our heartfelt condolences. You can never feel the place of a father, a husband, a friend, a son, that many people feel they have lost in Senior Chebukati. But he has been able to leave his mark in this world, and that is the most important. God gave you talents, and what have you done with those talents? So God bless you, and we continue to hold you in prayer, and we continue to stand with you. Thank you.
Thank you too. I am informed that Honorable Ochieng would want to leave, and this is one thing that I didn't want to have to announce, that people have to leave. That's why I'm asking us to please make it short so that we can all finish, and we can also be here for the family who are coming last. But we will allow him to go because of other responsibilities. Thank you. We are coming close to the end so that we can listen to the family. But now I will invite Andrew Chebukati, who will speak on behalf of the Babutu clan. I hope I have pronounced it properly. Then I will also ask Dinah Simiu Chebukati, a sister, to also come, and Court Otolo, who will speak on behalf of the in-laws. Thank you. Please come and sit here. Dinah, is she around? Okay, just go on.
Thank you. All protocol observed. The clergy, friends, and everybody who came to mourn with us, good afternoon. I take this opportunity to call Dina, Clanet, Elizabeth, all the Chebukati, my sisters that were here, just come because we're going to make a very few remarks. We shall take the little time possible. Zippy. The people have called, these are the clan, the Chebukati'S. Mildred, to say this, the senior Nyongeza has spoken about where the clan began, and he has told you the few remarks. But I'll read this. Our brother Wanyonyi Wafula Chebukati, he is the overall third born in the family amongst the sons. We remember him with a deep admiration and adoration for being, among other things, a family man. By this I mean, he was very supportive towards both our parents and our other siblings. He loved his wife and children. This is evidenced by the extent of sacrifice he has made to see the family scale the heights and reach their goals. The late was known to give audience to all who sought his services. He listened keenly but picked out the main points of conversation, after which he offered his sound opinion, always based on the facts and logic. My brother was never known to be shaken, however agitated he was. He could be seen smiling, despite of all underlying factors. He kept his composure and was never rattled. That's how he was. That's how we remember him. He was a gentleman who kept his word. His no was just a no, and his yes could not be otherwise. Being an accomplished man, he used all means within his power to see to the well-being of those who loved and valued. Our achievement are product of his hands. He shared the lead that he came with it, and he was able to support. As a normal human being, just like anyone else, his life journey was not smooth and sailing. He did not get a soft landing. He earned everything that had to put more extra effort. We remember him being a person with a stand. The nation may have lost a great man, but his family stand beyond words. The cup that he has left behind, the void of the absence, can never be filled by anyone else in a million years. The pain of the losing a son, a brother, a husband, a father, a breadwinner, is so profound, cannot be described to the fullest. There is time for everything, and in the clan, the name Chebukati, it means the tree that cannot be bent. Thank you so much. I would like to bring our elder sister to give her remarks as we finish.
Semeji, waombolezaji wote, kwangu ninawasalimia wote, hamjambo. Hamjambo tena. Nitaongea tu Kiswahili, hata sina lolote ambaye nitaweza kuongeza iwe mingi. Bali ni kuwashukuru tu wote ambaye mmeingia kwa hii kanisa kwa ajili ya ndugu yangu. Na mimi ndio wa kwanza katika hii familia. Yeye ananifuata mara 3. Kwa hivyo sister yangu Mary, Rejo, Jonathan, pamoja na Jay, mjipe tu moyo na msimame kwa hukumu wenu, ili Mungu atawaongoza katika kila jambo. Mungu anapenda mayatima pamoja na wajane. Wacha Mungu awajalie katika kila jambo. Na tulitoka nyumbani jana jioni, tumefika karibu mwendo wa saa 8. Lakini nawahimiza sineji yangu na watoto, mawe ambaye yanatolewa hapa na pale na vicheko. Mungu anasema unapocheka mwenzako, wewe pia utachekelewa. Na kipima ambayo unapimia mwenzako, wewe pia utapiniwa zaidi. Wacha Mungu ailaze roho yake mahali patakatifu. Sisi pia ni wapita njia, tutapita na tutampata huko. Asanteni.
As we finish, Dina is our firstborn, followed by Betty, who is not here, then Judy, who is not here also, then there's Eliud, and then Clanet, please show your hand, and then we have Sarah, who is also not here, then we have Daniel, and then we have the one who was like a daughter to Chebukati, who I wish just to give her a second, and then we exit, please. Then the last born is Elizabeth, and then someone who has cooked for me for many years. Her name is Mildred. May God bless you. Zippy as we go. Also, there's my in-law here. Her name is Emily. God bless.
Praise God. My sister-in-law Mary. I don't live close by. I just came in somewhere late in the night, but you've been in my prayers all this time. The man you see here today, I want to say one thing that probably no one else has said. He was a Christian. I lived with him from the time I was 9 years of age, and he taught me how to pray. He taught me how to read the Word of God. He took me to school and taught me how to study and work hard. He taught me how to put God first in all that I do. And I know we are all human beings, but he loved the Lord in his own way. And in his last days, we shared a lot. One thing I know is that he kept the faith, and I believe we shall meet with him some other day when the day comes. May God bless you, and we really appreciate all of you for having come to mourn with us today. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Asanteni sana kwa kufupisha maneno yenu. Quotes.
Bishop and senior pastors and pastors of Sitcom and the congregation of mourners, good afternoon, I think it is. Bishop, you will just seek to indulgence. I have a host of in-laws sitting here with me, and they had requested that you just sing one chorus, just one. It's a group of in-laws, they call themselves Acknowledgements. It will probably take a minute and a half, I promise. So
I think he deliberately put Sister Dina there just to make sure that there's a shield around him. So that was him. I think that's why I am still the only wife to the man lying here. That was the greatest, that was the highest chance of it happening, because when you are campaigning, everybody wants to associate with you as your first lady. So my husband kept on insisting, you must come home, you must be seen, I must be seen to have a wife and to just have a decent wife. So I will fast forward to your friends. You were Chep, and then later chairman. But to me, you were always honey or darling. But when Rachel came up as the first child, honey, darling got out of the way. It became Mama Rachel and Baba Rachel. So that is how we all acquired those titles. In the early days of our life, we had only one car, until later when we realized having a second car was more of a necessity than a luxury. Every morning, you would drop me at the district treasury where I worked and pick me up in the evening. I recall one day, one of those days, as a young married couple, we had had a disagreement. And I gave you the silent treatment of, as you took me to work, of kneel by mouth. We were not talking. So when we were not talking, it was always kneel by mouth. When you came to pick me up in the evening, You saw me from a distance, laughing heartily, chatting, and very excited. When I got into the car, I instantly resumed my kneel by mouth. Remember, carry forward from morning. You looked at me and said, was that you I just saw, or was it someone else who looked exactly like you? Happy and cheerful, and now you are kneel by mouth. Of course, that broke the ice, and we continued talking. So he had a way of bringing me back whenever we had disappointments. As an advocate, he often had cases outside Mombasa, and you'd ask me to accompany you. I vividly recall a trip to Embu, where you designated me as your driver, so you could prepare your case. Preparing the case was unexcused. He just wanted me to do the driving and to accompany him. At the time, I thought it was simply about work, but over time, I realized it was much more. He wanted us to bond and get close to each other. And that is how we got close, because Rachel came 2 years later after our marriage. Those 2 years were real bonding years. When I was transferred from Mombasa to Nairobi, because I overgrew my seniority, so I was taken to Nairobi. And being a Bukusu man, there was no way I could force you to join me, or even a Luya man. So I found a way. I started slowly pulling out the children. So I pulled Rachel to Nairobi, then I pulled Jonathan, and you heard Emmanuel say how they remained the two of them, and they realized they just have to come to Nairobi. That's how my husband ended up coming to Nairobi. And eventually, I saw the team of Kuto there. He now opened and became the managing partner, and opened their Nairobi branch. Many people assumed I was the talkative one in our marriage. No. This man spoke more than I did. You will not believe it. He spoke more than I did. He chatted more than I did. And the people who actually know that, who gave the tribute that is really applicable to the gentleman here, was the IBC, where he spent 6 years at the helm. To him, that was his second family. He protected them, and they are here. He ensured that he gave them their best coverage. And I was so encouraged when they came home, almost 150 of them. They had a ceremony, lit candles, and the tributes we had were spot on. That is exactly my husband. IBC, you got it right. That is him. Yes, thank you very much. So the only thing I've not done, because Chairman had a habit of starting things, he starts projects, and then he dumps them on me because he knows I'll run with them. But one thing we've not been able to do with him was to do the PhD. We kept on arguing who will start their PhD first among the 5 of us. It's still a challenge, but for me, I don't think it adds any value. So the challenge is among the 3. So he encouraged me. You have heard about our golf career. You often set that difficult task. I have just told you that. My husband was so generous, so generous. His generosity was to the extent that when he traveled out of the country, he thought the more expensive was the best. So he would bring me very expensive things, which sometimes I would not be able to wear. But I would have to pretend that they are very nice and they are very good. But for him, he picked price first, then quality. Because for him, he believed it's the best when it's the most expensive. So I enjoyed a lot of your gifts, which I know now I will not be able to have them.
Of being an in-law of Chebukati.
you very much. We've been seated for long. Let me ask the worship team to please come and lead us in one hymn. Let us all stand. We are now coming to the family, and we want to be to have the blood having flowed to every part of our body so that we can hear the family. So please, men's chorale, move like the men of David. Haraka. Thank you. I'll ask them to lead us in one quick song or chorus, and then we will ask the family to please come and give their tributes. We will be finished soon, or we'll be done with it soon. Let's be patient. Thank you.
Hallelujah.
Let's sing. Sing.
Moyo wangu sifu Bwana, sifu Bwana, siku zote, siku zote. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Ima, 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 ima. Anaweza, anaweza. Tushangilie, tushangilie.
I feel like a bullfighter already. Then with that familiar twinkle in his eye, he said, "No one can mess with me when I'm in my bullfighting hat." That was the Chebukati the world knew. Strong, resilient, full of conviction. You couldn't mess with him. But through my eyes, you will see him as simply the best father a son could ever ask for. In my formative years, my father instilled in me a deep sense of responsibility. While growing up in our home in Nyali, he entrusted me with the responsibility of managing staff salary and other procurement matters. Each month, I would prepare a budget, present it to him for approval, collect the funds, disburse the funds, and ensure that every employee and casual appended their signature upon receipt. To him, it wasn't just about the arithmetic. It was about the understanding of the value of labor and the dignity of fairness. These skills would later prove invaluable in my career. And this was my dad, the nurturer. On to my high school years, and it was just the two of us in Mombasa during my examination year. The rest of the family had since moved to Nairobi, but my dad stayed behind to allow me to complete my studies. It was a special chapter, and we settled into a routine. Takeout became our staple. We had Mabakio Mondays, Terrific Tuesdays, Tika Wednesday at the golf club in Nyali, and so on. But eventually we agreed that that wasn't sustainable, and so we started to cook together. He would occasionally bring back mudfish following his hearings in South Coast, and I would experiment with every way possible to make it taste palatable. Those who know mudfish, it is one of the most horrible fish you can try and eat out there. Nevertheless, he would go and make the ugali, and in as much as the seafood wasn't always great, the conversations over those meals that we had were priceless. This was his way of guiding me. It was never forceful, but gentle, trusting, and with room for me to grow into my own choices. That was my dad, the companion. Driving was another bond that we shared. It started in Mombasa, where I often chauffeured him around, and over time I naturally became the designated driver of the family, much to the displeasure of my two older siblings. Together we traveled thousands of kilometers, Mombasa to Nairobi, Kitale, Njoro, the Great Rift Valley and beyond. He was always in the passenger seat, guiding me with his steady voice. Of course, course, road trips went without their hiccups. Whenever I hit a pothole too hard or took a turn too fast, my mother and siblings here behind me would grumble from the back seat. But he would always defend me and he'd say, leave him alone. If I were driving, it would be much worse. That was my dad, the unwavering supporter. My dad was also a believer in my dreams. Following high school, I joined USIU Africa to pursue a degree in applied computer technology and later a job. However, one evening on the 19th hole at Royal Golf Club, and the golfers know which hole the 19th hole is, I told him that I was going to resign. He was excited at first, assuming that I had gotten a better opportunity, but that wasn't the case. He asked me sternly, how can you leave a job before you get another job? But when I told him I wanted to pursue a master's degree at Carnegie Mellon, he was at peace. Instead, he wholeheartedly supported me by immediately buying me an air ticket, preparing for my school fees, and giving me his blessing, including driving me to the airport. And this was my dad, the champion of continuous learning. While at Carnegie Mellon, he kept close tabs on me, regularly popping in during his work trips. He was proud when I was elected to serve as vice president of the Student Guild and sworn into office on the same day that he assumed office at IABC, and coincidentally the same day that President Donald Trump assumed office in the United States. One time when my mother and he visited, I had a few friends over for dinner. He asked that we have a group dinner, and unfortunately 15 people showed up. They were all excited and eagerly deeper to meet Chairman, people from varying nationalities from across the world. They just wanted to come and say hello. Later on in life, when he completed his term of office, he was gifted, he had earlier been gifted a Rwandan traditional stick called an inhoni, given to great warriors. And when he completed his term of office, he came home, took off his tie, and he reached for that stick. To me, that was symbolic, and a poignant reminder that the impact of leadership transcends borders. My dad also supported me in business. When I started my business in Rwanda, we needed some money to secure some premium office space. And so he loaned me Kenya shillings 620,000, interest-free for 12 months. When we repaid him as a company 1 month early, he was proud. But when he learned that the bank had flagged the transaction as suspicious because I was supposedly the son of a politician, he was absolutely furious. The same bank later on refused to open a business account for one of my businesses, citing the same reasons. His response? He closed his own accounts with the bank. Much to the frantic calls of all the managers, he ignored them, hung up on them, and proceeded to close his accounts with that bank, and moved his salary account elsewhere. This was my father, principled, protective, and unwilling to let his family be mistreated. You couldn't mess with him. As my life in business grew, I would regularly consult him, and he would regularly challenge me, given that, after all, he had been in private practice for over 30 years, so he knew a thing or two about business. One evening, following another sitting at the 19th hole, he insisted on escorting me home. I obliged, excited to finally get to show my dad my apartment. He entered and I gave him a customary tour. Kamwambia, ona TV mzee, iko pale, ni sawa. Iko sofa set hapa, wacha nikonyeshe fridge, and so on. I was very excited to have him over. And then later on we sat on our balcony, and with my chest proudly out, I said, I've achieved all this because we've got a good client and they're bringing in a certain amount every month. He looked at me, smiled, and with this typical quirky smile, he said, only. Iyo ni kidogo. Double it. This confused me. I was expecting a pat on the back. Well done, son. Congratulations on what you have achieved. But here he was challenging me to do more, to be more, and to achieve more. I'm proud I had the opportunity to report back to him that I successfully doubled it as he had initially wished. As time went on, my hard work was recognized and I was invited to CMU to receive an award. This is a prestigious award that only 100 alumni out of 100 have received. My parents insisted on coming with me, and indeed he said, "You're coming with us, or rather we are coming with you, and you're flying in business class with us." Following that trip, the initial symptoms of his illness began to show, and subsequently the rest, as the eulogy has been read, speaks to that. But after his first surgery, his dedication never wavered. I had the privilege of staying with him in months as he recovered. In those months, we took daily walks, brainstormed on talking points, and prepared for his upcoming engagements. One of them was the EIP presentation, which he delivered with much aplomb. And again, it was just the two of us in Germany for about 3 months, just as it was in Mombasa many years back. Because that is what was available to us out there. When we left Germany, we executed our strategy. I had the privilege of traveling with him to the 2023 Economic Symposium in Abidjan, to South Africa in Cape Town, and to help him prepare for his presentation in Lisbon, Portugal, where he received an award. Despite his condition, he prepared diligently and delivered all these engagements with poise and aplomb. He barely needed talking points. He was speaking from his lived experience. In his final days, my father was surrounded by love and peace. We rallied resources for his care, we safeguarded his well-being, and we made sure that a family member was always by his side. Indeed, nobody could mess with him. Not in life, not in his final moments. Rest well, Dad. I will carry with you your lessons with me. I will carry your lessons with me forever, and keep your heart safe. A symbol of the wisdom you wore so effortlessly, the strength you carried with quiet dignity, and the path that you charted for me to follow. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon. Before I go on to reading, I'd like to first, we all call Daddy, Daddy. That's why I don't understand why Dad is here. It should be DY, because he was a real, I think he was the best father I've ever seen in my life. Let me put it that way. I feel Daddy was firm, he was honest, he was courageous, and he liked being straightforward in a positive way. And the best thing about him, he could remind you, especially when I was young, he'd be like, "Have you done your homework?" Then after 1 hour, you just see him coming from the other corner. "Have you done your homework?" So having a father like that is someone who you can rely on every time. You don't even need an alarm. You don't even need a phone. Nowadays, I don't know why people use phones for so many things, and a phone is just for calling and texting. But for him, he was old-fashioned, and he was straight to the point in a positive way, and that's what made him a special and a successful man. So my tribute, I can start reading it. On Thursday, 20th February 2025, will be a day I will always remember. The day you long journey, Daddy. I never thought you would leave us in our early 30s. And it pains me to realize that you will not be there for us, your children, to give back to you. These past days, I have been going down memory lane, and I am proud that I have I was given the opportunity to call you my father. Daddy, you loved us deeply, and you worked tirelessly to ensure we had all we needed and more. You are a man who was always willing to lend a helping hand, a man who was and is my #1 role model and mentor, a man of integrity and honesty, an unshakable man. I never thought there was anything you couldn't do. If you wanted to, Daddy, we'll accept avoid death. We built a lifetime of happy memories, one I will cherish forever, and which time can never erase. If I were to pen them all down, it will need more than a book. Your #1 sport of golf, I remember when I was 10 years old, I accompanied you to the golf course. I quickly took golf and you said I was a natural. It became part of me. Your passion became mine. I had learned from the best. In 2007, when I got my handicap, which then allowed me to play professional golf around the world. You are so proud of me. You trained me, Dad, so that I could become the best in this sport. You and the man entitled me and sponsored me to join the and Chebukati. We were the first golf partners who are related to ever be champions in Royal Nairobi Golf Club. We both also had a hole-in-one at the same club. On the golf course, we connected as one being. You are my partner, you are a fighter, and you were a team player. Family golf was your idea. Those moments when we competed as a team of 2 against each other forever warmed my heart. We had so much fun and we enjoyed the rewards that came with winning most of the competitions. Golf will certainly never be the same without you. Whenever you played golf with me and could strategize on how to win every time, losing was not an option. If it happened, you told me, it's not the end of the world, my son. Your time will come. I still can't believe that you're gone. You're irrepressible Daddy, one of a kind. Tears fill my eyes as I write this tribute. My heart is heavy with grief. Losing you feels like losing part of myself. But I find comfort in the Lord daily. Your life is hard to emulate, but will do my best to live a life of integrity like you did. I am confident that you are in heaven and are watching over us. I won't see you again on earth, but happily we will meet in heaven. I echo the words of J.M. Richards, in quotes, no one wants to go through life alone, fighting battles single-handedly their whole life, not even the hardest of heroes. I love you, Daddy. Rest in peace till we meet again. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I have been wondering what I was going to say today for the last few days, which is kind of, I would say, ironic to an extent, because the number of scares that we've had for my dad in terms of death scares have just been so many, to the point that at some point I would have dreams of this moment, standing before people and talking at his funeral on a daily basis. Started in 2017 after the election period, 2022 during his sickness. So to actually be here, it's kind of it's I don't know if surreal is the right word, but it's just, I don't know, it's very weird. But what I want to say is I will not read what I have as a tribute, because, like I say in my tribute, summary is not my strong suit. I did not write it from beginning to end. I don't know how my brothers were able to do that, and have themes. I've just been reading their tributes and they're pretty good. But mine, he was able to talk, which the doctors found remarkable. As always, he's an overachiever. So after 2-3 days, the first conversation I'm able to have with him now after surgery, and I ask him, how are you? How are you feeling? How does it feel to have something, removed from your head? And the first thing he asked me was, how's your presentation? I was like, it's okay. Did you prepare for it? I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. I hope you made the family proud. I was like, yeah, I did well. So my dad, he wanted us to proceed with our lives, to still continue doing better, being better. During his entire sickness, he was given a few months to live. But I recall him saying, this sickness is not going to beat me, I'm going to fight it. And he did. So he opened a whole home gym. He was in the gym every morning, every evening. He was taking his medicine time. He was, doing everything, eating healthy. And then he beat it for a while until it recurred again in November of 2023. And the interesting thing is, by November, he had already planned all these international conferences he was supposed to go for. And then we asked him, so what do we do now that, are you still gonna go? He said, yeah, why not? He's still going to go. Because the doctor said it's recurred, but it's not big enough to be removed. So he decided to continue his life. And what we said as a family is somebody will accompany him for each of them. So I recall I accompanied him to Portugal, and that was one of the first ones he did after his brain surgery. And after he finished the presentation, which he did remarkably well, I just saw him very tired, and I think at that point that's when I started to realize the chemotherapy is actually taking a toll on him, and I didn't realize it. But despite that, you couldn't tell, no one could tell, So he always kept pushing himself, and that's what he did. Pushed himself and lived for over 20 months, despite the doctors telling him he only had 4 to 6 months to live. So again, just kept pushing himself. And his positivity, his drive, his confidence is what pushes me as well to just continue doing better, to continue being better, to live to the expectations that I have set for myself. And towards his last days, you know the way, like like I said, we've had many death scares. Leave alone the elections. It was April 2023, and then around October 2023, I was with him. I was home because Mom had traveled. So in the middle of the night, he woke up and was a bit stiff. So we were told that was another problem. Apparently he was having a seizure. At that point I didn't know, but somehow my brother and I Googled that when this happens, you're supposed to increase this anti-seizure medicine, and we did. And when we went to hospital the next day, the doctor said, you guys actually, like you did what I would have said you'll have done. So that was another scare. April 23 was another scare. We had to do his second surgery. Then there was December 2023. And then there was more recently, February 2020. Sorry, there was December 2024, April 2024, December 2024, and more recently February 2025, when he was admitted in hospital, again at ICU. I think this was like his third or fourth time in ICU. My brother and I was like so confident, like he's been in, he's been out. So I was actually selected, I was not in the country at the time. I'd gone for a fellowship, UN fellowship that I was selected for, and I was debating between myself, should I go, should I not go? And I asked my mom said, do what your heart feels. He was in ICU at the time. And then I asked my brother, what do you think? And he said, you know what, Daddy would have wanted you to go. And besides, the number of times he's been in and out of ICU, he always scares us and then he comes back. So he's going to come back. So I left to Addis Ababa for a month, packed my stuff for 1 month, knowing that my dad would go into ICU, come back, and knowing that that's what he would have wanted me to do. And then one day after being there, I get the call from my mom in the evening. She didn't even need to say it. She just said, yeah, the hospital had called her, and they want her to come in, and they were not telling her what they want her to come in for until she pushed them, until they mentioned it. So, the funny thing is, I didn't, as much as, yes, he was sick, it didn't actually occur to me this day would actually come because of how confident he was in just pushing himself and on how confident he was in his will to live. The other day, my mom and I were having a discussion about maybe, I don't know, talk of universe or whatever, maybe I needed to leave the country for him to go. I don't know, because I don't know. It just, because it's not making sense to me how I left. But at that point, I just knew he was going to be okay. But then he wasn't. But what I want you to take, I guess, away from this, and for me, I think to my dad, he was not just a father, he was literally the best father anybody could ever ask for. The best father any daughter could ever ask for. I'm so grateful for him. It's sad losing him at 63. Of course, you want him to be there for you in your future. You want him to be there to see your grandchildren. That's one thing my brothers and I guess, were not able to give him before he passed. My future children, I know for sure, and my future nieces and nephews will know his name, they'll know his legacy, they'll know who he is. And I will, sorry, I don't know how to conclude. I'll probably just keep going. So I'm just gonna say to Daddy, I think rest well. As much as you have been sick for some time, you'd expect it to be. Okay, I don't think it can be easier, but it's still hard. And I guess he needed to rest. Maybe I didn't take that into, consideration. I just wanted him to be here. Thank you.
Okay. So maybe just join me. Mwamba wenye imara, kwako nitajificha, maji hayo na damu yaliyotoka humo hunisafisha dhambi, hunifanya mshindi. Bishop, presiding pastor, and all the clergy, and allow me to ride on as I prepared to give my tribute. I would like to request to be coming forward, just to stand, not to speak, the Commission on Revenue Allocation team. Please just stand and start coming. I am sorry you had been put in the program, but somebody may have felt you fall under constitutional commissions, and so you got lost in there. Please come forward, and as you come forward, I would like to request the team of lawyers of Ngumbo and team Murugu, Mukele, please also, that team, the IBC team, Moses, just to come forward. I'd like to request the home care team, Langat, Mwangi, Shaha, all that entire team, just be coming forward, please. Lucy, Kutz, of course, my chairman of the subcommittee, please just step forward. And I don't think Professor Gulie and Molu and Marjan are here, but I know IBC is here. Vera is not here, but her children are here. Now, don't be worried, they are not going to speak. And when indeed I start my tribute, feel free to stand there. Once I see you there, I'll get the message. Because it's very, very difficult to put this tribute to speak of the gentleman that is lying there. I've been strong. I'll try to be strong. And the reason I'm strong is because of the support. Mary Winnie, please come forward. The support that I have received ever since 20th February, just about midnight. I know there's more. There are more people who have supported, but why I'm just calling this team is they have been involved on a day-to-day basis in ensuring that the chairman gets the best, either in terms of support or in terms of spiritual prayers. Chairman Mnamwa, please, I wanted you to come forward. They've been praying, they've supported us in all manner. In the interest of time, I will not mention them. I'll just ask the group of the House team, Ken and your team, Ken and the team, Wamukoya, Shaha, Langat. These have been the caregivers of the chairman, cooking. I think there's Shaha, literally making sure that he's been okay. He was okay initially, but when he started getting sick, then they came in. And I don't know if David is here, he's physiotherapist. If you are, please come forward. They've literally taken care of him on a daily basis. Thank you very much. We will get you to speak on Friday during the tribute upcountry. I also have the team of my sister and my brother. Please stand up. Please stand up. Lucy and Kutz. The night the news came in, the news Rachel is talking about, and the chairman of our committee, these are the people who accompanied me to hospital that night. The way the news was broken to me, I was just told he's had a cardiac arrest and he has died. And that was just before midnight. So it was very devastating. It so happened Rachel, as she has said, was away, and my son Jonathan was around, and they were speaking on phone, and Rachel could hear me get the call on the other line. Within no time, she had mobilized a team to accompany me to hospital. Thank you very much. That is Lucy, my sister, and Kutz, my brother, and Wakili Nyongesa. The other people who've been there literally on a day-to-day basis, every day, the lawyers, please step forward. You know, day-to-day basis, these lawyers have been available. They've been visiting. If it's birthdays, they've celebrated. When the sad news has come in, we have always felt free to share with them. And they have always said, please let us know if you have a problem and if you require anything. Thank you very much. We don't take it for granted. Somebody missing here is one of the lawyers who passed on, Wakili Mutubia, who was also very close with the chairman. Thank you very much. From IBC, Marjan, the CEO, current CEO, Professor Gulie, and the two other commissioners, Professor Gulie and Commissioner Molu. We used to call them the four musketeers, because they used to move around